And do you like directing more on film versus TV? Because that's what I always hear about directors is, you have more power in film than TV, or is that changing?
I think it's changing. It's there's not that same delineation that there used to be between TV and film. TV is incredibly cinematic these days.
Yeah.
And pushing a lot of boundaries, and it's just faster, honestly.
Yeah,
it's
right.
like so much faster to get a TV show going or to get a spot directing on a TV show than to get a feature off the ground.
Sure.
But I honestly I'm very, I get excited by all different media.
Sure.
And in terms of format, form, length, genre, I like to really approach my career the way actors approach their careers, where you could do like a superhero movie and then you could go do like an art house indie.
Yeah.
And that's what I really enjoy. It's like, I get bored doing the same thing over and over again, so I like to branch out.
How did Meralta Films get its name? So you've told us the Natasha story. Tell us about Meralta Films. I'm always interested in how people come up with their names of their production companies.
So it's another good story. So Meralta, the theater we were talking about, my parents in the 70s leased a single screen movie theater in Culver City, and that became the first theater to exhibit Hindi films in the US. And it was really a place where like the community came together, and there are people who are friends to this day, who have been friends for 30, 40 years, who met at that
50
theater.
years.
50 years, yeah. Exactly, wow, shit.
I know, it's half a century.
Yeah.
I know, it's so crazy to think about, because we're so used to saying 30, 40.
Yeah,
but
exactly.
It's literally over half a century.
We've been here a minute.
Yeah.
But there are people who met at that theater and who kind of bonded, through that experience. And it was just, and it was also how my father got his start in the film business. The theater was called the Meralta Theater.
Oh, wow.
So it's now an office complex called the Meralta Office Complex.
So the name lives on.
The name lives on also through my company. So
yeah.
All of the things that the theater represented are things that I try to embody in my work and in my company. So it felt like the perfect name.
It is such a claim to fame that your family is the first one to exhibit these Hindi films in the United States.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that's quite a legacy.
It is, yeah. It's amazing. And one day I'll write a novel about it.
Yeah, as you should. And then you can contact my brother, since he's a novelist as well as a publisher of novels.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, so he's done a few things, which has been pretty crazy. Your work, in marketing they say target everybody, you target nobody, right? Your work, you have St. Louis Superman, which is a documentary about a black man in St. Louis, of course, in Missouri. State representative in Missouri, the Show Me State. Yeah. And then you also have done a lot of things that are in the Desi space, the South Asian space, et cetera. So you're not limited only to the Desi space. But that said, knowing that your work will be seen globally by people that are not South Asian, how does that influence the projects you choose and the approach that you take when you direct and produce?
I guess it's not something I'm conscious of at all, because, I think that's just the space that so many of us occupy. Like those kind of traditional walls between domestic, international, et cetera, are falling, a lot thanks to streaming, honestly. And even just as a person, I am Indian, I'm American, I'm a woman, I'm a human being, a millennial, like a human being in this world. And each of those, facets of my identity attract different interests, right? So I pursue things that I'm interested in and things that I feel like I can sort of explore some facet of humanity through, that's sort of the only through line, in all my work is trying to like ask big questions about the world we live in, about who we are as people. And I can do that through a dating show, or I can do that through, an arty, documentary. And all of it excites me and all of it informs me. I find all of it as intellectually rigorous. So, because, everything speaks to sort of a different, part of my identity. The best advice I've ever gotten, from another filmmaker I got from Shekhar Kapoor, where he says, you have to see yourself in everything that you make. And that can come in many different ways, but you have to sort of find yourself, and that's how work feels authentic and it feels real, and you're asking the right questions. And that's really what I look for, is what aspect of my identity or my curiosity am I seeing in this work? And that's sort of been my North Star.
Now that you are a public figure, you've got, celebrity, at least to some degree for sure. What has that afforded you? How does that change things for you once is it greater access? What changes?
I don't know. Am I a public figure? That's like it's hard for me to think of myself that way.
Okay.
But yeah, I mean, definitely, on the work side, the industry side, more and more people know my name before I walk into a room, which is nice.
Yeah.
Occasionally, people send me like free products.
That's something.
Which is fun. We're
going to give you some when you leave here. Yeah, we have a gift bag for you.
Occasionally people invite me to come play ping pong.
Yeah.
In this cool.
Yeah, that's the thing. You're here for a reason.
Right.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I think that's about it. It definitely eases the path.
Yeah.
To doing what I want to do and what I love to do.
Yeah.
Somewhat.
Sure.
And yeah, there's like the occasional perk.
Yeah. One question we often talk about, because I've organized this, this thing called an entertainment meetup where we get a bunch of people together and it's a networking event kind of thing. How much has networking helped you in your career? Have you just kind of kept your head down and let your work speak for itself? Because sometimes I feel like all of these networking events are like, they're great, but what are we getting out of them? Yeah. How much has networking helped you?
It's pretty much done everything for me.
Okay.
And it sort of starts with my dad.
Okay.
Well, my dad was like a pioneer, Desi guy in the film business.
Yeah.
He started making movies in 1980 and was for a long time like one of very few Indian people working out here. And so he really mentored, a lot of people.
Yeah.
And he loved going to like those things. He loved going to like the IFLA happy hours and like loved having coffee like, with people, young filmmakers who were like trying to figure out how to make it. And a lot of those people are now like huge filmmakers or executives. Like the number of times I go into like a pitch or a meeting and somebody sees my last name and they're like, "Oh, are you related to Jag Mundhra?" And I say, "Yeah, I'm his daughter." And they were like, "Oh, we had tea at your house, or we like met your dad for coffee like at the Starbucks like on the corner where we live." And so he really believed in that.
Yeah.
And he never did it with like any specific aim in mind. Like, what am I going to get out of this? It was just
who he was.
It was who he was. He wanted to build community. He wanted to share information and resources and encourage people, and then also tap into people. Like he learned a lot from like younger people too. And I've been the beneficiary. Like that's my inheritance.
Sure.
Honestly, like I've been the beneficiary of all of that like amazing goodwill. That he has. Among the Desi people in the film industry. But also like I try to embody that too. So I think when you go into those networking situations with like how many like connections am I going to get that's going to lead me to this or that, you're going to feel disappointed all the time.
Yeah.
But if you go into it being like, I'm just going to like be with my community, and if I always go into those situations thinking if I leave with like one meaningful conversation, like if I connect with one person and I have a great conversation and follow it up, and like who knows where that could lead me. It could be something that pays off in a week, or it could take 10 years.
Sure.
But if I've connected with somebody and feel like I've really made like a friend in the industry, one person out of all of those meetings, it's a huge win for me. So that's, yeah.
I love that. I always think of it that way, that, there's things there's a means and an end, And if we go into everything thinking that it's an end, you'll be happy.
Yeah.
If you think of it as a means, you're going to be miserable.
Exactly.
You're like, what is this going to lead to? What is this going to lead to? What is this going to lead to?
Yeah.
If you're always asking that question, you're never living in the moment. You're never living in the present. And you're always trying to use people or use this, or let me use this to parlay that into that. It's like, there's too much of that.
Yeah.
And it's like, if you could just approach it, do the work,
Yeah.
tell people about the work. I'm not saying you just have to keep your head down and not do it, or not tell anyone about it.
Yeah.
But I do feel at the end of the day that like, if you just go, well, I got to do that. That was a thing that existed and now exists in the world.
Yeah.
Then that's it.
Yeah, exactly.
Let me just do the ending. So we really want to thank you for joining us, Smriti Mundhra,
pleasure.
daughter of Jag Mundhra.
Yes.
On what do you bring to the table? Yes, that's a lot of what he brought to the table,
Yes.
and part of why you're here. But of course, your own work and your own talent, your own skill as a producer, director, writer, and it's really an honor to have you grace us with your presence because you're so successful, currently successful, and there's so much more to go. So we really want to thank you for being here today. And if there's anything you want to wrap up with, you want to tell people where to find you, or anything you want to say to the camera or to me, you're welcome to.
No, just thank you for creating the space for all of us to share and talk and learn from each other. And it's great questions, great coffee, great game. I had a blast.
I'm so appreciative. Thank you so much. Well, thanks everyone for joining us on What Do You Bring to the Table? I've been your host, Rajiv, and I still am.